Hey, Steven, guess where I'm at? I'm looking up at this really tall fence and I've got the tape measure. We're going to find out who's right here. All right, reaching up to the top, all the way down, and officially 8 feet at its highest point. I was right. Not 11, not 12, 8, which makes me correct if I recall.
Stephen, how high did you say the fence was last week?
I believe I said it was closer to 10 feet.
Not even close. Not even close.
It's like 37 feet, right?
It's 8 feet tall. What did I say?
Well, you said 7, then you said 7.5 at most.
Yeah, I was close. Well,
then you went to around 8, and I said 8 sounds about right. I stepped back and was like, all right, you're probably right. You're better with like guessing weight and guessing heights on things. I way over exaggerate.
Well, so it's 8 feet at the highest. It's 7.5 feet probably at the lowest because there's multiple levels of it because I guess it's an older fence. But yeah, no, you were wrong and I was right. And yeah, I found the tape measure.
Yeah. And by the way, where was the tape measure? I should not have shown you where it was.
I have no idea.
Next to your desk.
It was?
Yes.
Why was it there?
You must have put it there. That's so weird that you didn't put it back.
I put it back now behind me on the shelf.
That's like yesterday. I was looking for certain lenses and I'm like, where are all these lenses at? I go downstairs. They're all scattered throughout your work area. I used to have them nice and organized upstairs on the gear shelves where they belong.
Well, if you're talking Canon, the Canon gear is generally with me.
Sony.
Where did I have Sony gear?
You must have brought it for bowling, I think, for the other shooter.
Oh, well, the A1 you mean?
Look next to your printer. There's a bunch of lenses.
There's a bunch of Sony lenses over there. I never put them back.
Yep.
That's right. Mm-hmm. I need to take them back. Yeah, I took them a couple of times for the bowling trips over the last month.
And never
put them back. It's just such a long walk in my big building. It's just the building is so large.
It's the other side of the mansion.
I got to go upstairs 2 stories. I got to walk all the way to the back. It's literally right above where I sit.
1% problems.
Maybe I could have a dumb waiter, and I could just
it
just
would
have
be
it
funny
go.
Because it is directly above you.
It is. So I've got to literally walk 50 feet that way. No. Yeah, 50 feet that way.
3,000 feet.
2 stories. 50 feet that way towards the same exact spot, all to put my stuff away.
I don't know, Jared. I'd say that's about like 400 feet.
I'm going to measure it. Let me count it out with my steps. My very large feet steps. So we've got things to talk about this week, as we always do tend to talk about photography. Never.
Always.
But we do talk photography, obviously. I want to talk about yoga first. Then I want to talk about the Apple Vision Pro and what Mark Zuckerberg did. We're going to talk about Manny Ortiz getting his stuff stolen on a train over the summer while he was in Italy. Talk about some Canon rumors of the 2024 roadmap and some of the discussions that came out today about when they expect to see the R1 and R5 Mark II, as well as other lenses they think are going to get version 2s. If we have time, we're going to talk about Dropbox. If not, we're not going to talk about Dropbox. Other than that, that's what we got. So I did yoga for the first time in months the other day, on Sunday, because they have a class called Slow Flow. I prefer Slow Flow than Power Flow. No, Slow Flow. It's not a class named after me. It's not like
it's not the Jared.
No, it's not the Jared over at Walkwork, which is very good. I'm hungry already, as I said to you before the show.
That's weird.
I got hungry because I got a Stairmaster. It's not a Stairmaster. It's Matrix. It's a stair climber in my house. It's industrial, and I did 10 minutes on it. I did like 45 or so floors today.
Stay focused on the story.
I know Jeff Lallier, our ad guy, who does over 100 floors a day, is sitting there going, 54 floors, 43 full, that's nothing.
I mean, if you return the gear, you wouldn't need that stair stepper at all.
That's true. Well, if I would buy a house that was multi-stories, more stories, I could go up and down them.
So douchey.
I actually did that when I was in Las Vegas for one of the bowling shows at an Airbnb. I got up in the morning and it was like 4 stories from basement all the way up. And I did that like 10 times just to get the heart beating a little bit.
The juice is flowing.
So anyway, back to yoga. Slow flow I prefer because it's slower and you hold poses and they're not yelling at you as much. Not that they yell at you at yoga. The normal yoga that I was doing is power flow, which is meant for strength and all of that. I don't need more power. I've got plenty. I've got the power. of Grayskull.
Okay, He-Man.
Yeah, I got the power. I don't need to. And they move too fast. And they're like, and roosh, rash, rash, rah, beef, rah, rah, rah. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to listen to you chant and ohm. And your third eye is the light from within. Fuck you and your third eye bullshit. Unless it's third eye blind.
Yes.
Unless it's third eye blind.
Stephen Jenkins.
Wait, is he into yoga? Is that where he got the name?
I guarantee he totally is. He's all about that kind of stuff.
Hold up, Stephen. Hold up. Oh, Jesus. How did third eye blind get their name?
Here we go. Down the
when
rabbit hole.
developing a brand name and a title for their debut record, Jenkins sought a name with a wit and sense of punk rock irony. The name Third Eye Blind is meant to refer to metaphysical third eye. However, the band also intended to satirize the concepts. Yeah, he hates yoga too. So anyway, I wanted to do yoga because Rachel was teaching it. She does slow flow. But when I got there, they did something new that wasn't there before.
I love how you act like people know who Rachel is.
I posted a picture of Rachel.
I have no idea who Rachel is.
FroPack 4 stuff. I gave you some of those portraits that I did in FroPack 4 for FroPack 4 editing.
Is she on the actual FroPack 4 page?
I think so. It's Cappuccino.
Coppertone?
What's the one with the C? Coppertone. Go to fronosphoto.com/FroPack4. Right, meow.
No, Coppertone is from the D850 trip. We have that picture of the couple in front of like the old railroad or something.
Oh.
Probably used her, though, as one of the examples for Coppertone, but the final example on the sales page was this couple.
Stop deviating from the script, Stephen.
Okay.
So they had this new thing up there. They had a bowl over by the block wall. The block wall is what you use when you need to, like, you can't sit properly and you got to put a block under you because you're a wuss. So anyway, I don't get a block, but they had a thing called an assisting stone bowl. And there's all these little stones, these flat stones in there. And it says, if you'd like to have hands-on assistance, just put one of these stones by your mat.
Hey-o.
And I'm like, well, if I take 10 or 20 stones, do I get extra assistance? She didn't like that. Though, I think she took liberties when she was touching me. Sorry, Deb. I think Rachel took liberties when she was assisting me because her hand went to places that I didn't have an assisting stone.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. I was like, Oprah baseball, Oprah baseball, Oprah baseball. We're at yoga right now. I'm wearing very tight purple yoga pants. Oprah baseball. Oh, that you never heard that before?
No, what is that a reference to?
I forget where it came from, but it's someone who's fighting off getting turned on.
Austin Powers or something?
It was, I don't remember, but they're just constantly saying Oprah baseball, Oprah, so that they don't get turned on because they're thinking of Oprah. Because I don't think Oprah can turn. Oprah's got over $1 billion. Would you sleep with Oprah for $1 billion?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, probably. Who would you sleep with for $1 million, Steven? $1 billion.
Everybody. Why not?
Exactly. Like Liam's Hemsworth for $1 billion, you do it.
His name's plural? I didn't know that.
I have no idea what his name is. Liam Hemsworth? So anyway, that's an assisting stone, and we're moving on to the next story because Stephen doesn't want to talk about yoga and getting molested at yoga by choice, by getting assisting stones. I just thought that if you had 20 stones, it's better than one stone. It means extra hands because more hands are better than no hands. So I have until tomorrow to return my Apple Vision Pro I just saw.
Oh, so what are you going to do?
It's a debate right now.
Because I asked you yesterday, I was like, I'm surprised you're not using the Apple Vision Pro because you were so all about it for the past week or so. Every time you called me, you had it on.
No, I was trying and doing things inside there. The thing that would make
you were
it much
so wowed by it. That's the thing. You weren't just testing; you loved it.
Well, I'm not wowed by it, and there are things that could be better. Could I live without it? The answer to that is yes.
Of course.
Would I like to have it when I'm traveling on an airplane for long distances? Yeah, I think I'd like to disappear from everybody and be able to just focus on that. But also, my thing on airplanes is I actually like to turn off on airplanes where I don't do anything other than sit there with my in-ears in silence because it's a time where I can just focus on nothing or listen to books or podcasts.
For sure. Yeah, I usually try to do music or podcasts, but I just can't do sleeping, man. No matter how tired I am, it can be a 12-hour red-eye flight. I can't sleep on planes no matter what. I do like watching movies a lot.
No, movies put me to sleep in the airplane. So I wish
they did.
And You know, Stephen, when you are in, business class and you can lay flat on your way to Kenya, you tend to
when
fall
you're not
asleep.
with the peasants in the back of the plane.
Gah, peasants in the back of the plane. Who needs that? I could have ridden in the back of the plane for like $1,800 round trip, but I did. So when I did the red eye home from Vegas the other week, it was so uncomfortable to be not able to lean back even further. It was just terrible, and I was in even regular class.
Just leaning back in economy in general, you get like 2 inches of lean back. There's barely anything, which is why I'm always like, why do I have to put my seat up and my tray table up when we take off and land? Like, I get like it's kind of a safety hazard, but not the seat so much. It goes back like 2 inches. Is that really going to matter?
In order to lean back properly, what is the proper amount? Let's ask Fat Joe. Hey, Fat Joe, in order to be lean back properly, how many inches of proper lean back is there? Well, Jared, let me just say that the proper lean back is lean back.
He sounds like a South Park character.
Hey, I'm Fat Joe. I used to be fat. Now I'm not fat any longer. I went on a diet a long time ago. He actually did. He looks really good. I like Fat Joe. I like Fat Joe because he was smart about his money. He knew that he wasn't going to be popular forever. And the person that didn't lose weight was Big Pun. And you know what happened to Big Pun.
Yeah.
He died. So Fat Joe...
Wasn't Fat Joe just in that Dunkin' Donuts commercial during the Super Bowl with J-Lo?
Fat Joe was in a commercial, yeah, because he's from like Brooklyn area.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
The Dun Kings?
The Dun Kings, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find that the Super Bowl commercials were the greatest thing since sliced bread this year.
For me, it was the Michael Cera one, man. Cera V. I thought that was hilarious. I love Michael Cera in general. He's
I like
so
him.
awkward.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He is funny.
Yeah.
He is funny. Hey, somebody called me Fogel the other day.
Really?
They said I look like Fogel.
You don't look like him at all. You have an afro.
I don't know what
and
I was
muscles.
doing. No, I think my hair was down and I had my glasses on. I don't remember. They said I look like Fogel.
I mean, maybe they're just saying you look like a dork because that makes sense.
I don't care. I just got my little bottle of lube right here, and I'm totally happy about it.
Or are we talking about Jared Fogle, the Subway guy?
That's not nice, Steven. You fucking take that back.
I mean, your name is Jared, right?
Back to the Vision Pro. One thing I'd like to do in there is go to the Apple News app, which I don't subscribe to. I mean, for $10 a month, you get access to like every magazine and newspaper that exists, and it's a pretty good deal. I could feel like I could read in it better because I could make it larger. And I used to go to La Colombe and sit there with my iPad and read magazines in the Apple app on the big iPad. I wouldn't ever take this thing to a coffee shop and read magazines. I think you'd look like a real fucking asshole.
I'm surprised you kind of care about that because normally you don't give a shit what other people think. I could see you being that guy in the coffee shop wearing that
I don't care
headset.
what other people think, but if you're gonna just sit in the Apple Vision Pro, then it doesn't matter what the world is doing around you, honestly. You might as well just sit on your sofa and read. So it's a weird place because it's expensive, right? I can return it and get $3,700 plus back, and I probably don't get they probably take your Apple cash back at that point, but it's an interesting rub. And the thing that added to it is Zuckerberg decided to put out a video smartly, which I never expected from the CEO of Facebook or Meta at this point, where he said, I used it and I didn't think it was that good, which what else is he going to say as he was promoting the Meta Quest 3?
Not only did he say that, but he also did a lot of positive things about the Apple Vision Pro.
He did. He said, certain things were good and the screens are tremendous, but at what trade-off? Because ours is $3,000 less, basically, is what he said.
It's $500, I think.
That's $650 or $600 for the Meta Quest 3.
Yeah.
I think he's like 6 times or 7 times less.
7 times less, yeah.
Or whatever the math. No, it's like 4 times. Whatever the maths ends up being.
Well, 5 times 7 would be 3,500. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said 7. So it was just a good video, and you're like, wow, this is real. This isn't some some PR written bullshit. He just sat down, as you do on the internet, and made video.
And that's what I really enjoyed about it, is for once he wasn't like a scripted robot. It was the real Mark Zuckerberg just telling it how it is, giving his actual opinion, which I found extremely refreshing. And again, he was saying pros and cons to both sides. Obviously, he's going to be, rooting for his own headset, but at the same time, he was also saying, hey, Apple did some good things too.
I think the biggest takeaway with the Vision Pro is it's a whole to-do to go into it. It's not like I gotta clip on this.
It's a process. Yeah,
you got to plug in and click in the cable. You got to make sure you have enough battery power. You got to put the damn thing on. It takes about 37 seconds to turn on, right before you put it on. No,
you timed it, didn't you?
No, that's what they said in the reporting I saw. It was 37 seconds. And so you then put it on and you're into the world, but it's not like something you put on a pair of glasses and it's there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. I mean, it's a tax write-off, as we've talked about a million times.
What does your gut say? Do you want to keep it?
Well, I mean, how many times I'm going to use it? So when I travel, I'd like to take it to travel, and I could totally see using it in the hotel room versus using the laptop. I find that the 16-inch screen is difficult for me to use. I'm used to a 32-inch screen.
And it's not like a few years back when you would only travel once or twice a year. You actually do travel quite a bit now. So I don't know, maybe it is worth keeping, even if it's just for travel.
Yeah. I mean, I do like my cinema display looks amazing in front of me right now.
Sure.
Right? Like that is incredible. Just sitting here looking at my cinema display, jumping into different pictures, right? All of this looks awesome.
But I will say we did a side-by-side comparison of what like the screen recording looked like to the actual exported JPEG edited in your cinema display, and it looked pretty close. So if you were editing photos in the Apple Vision Pro, I think you would have a pretty close representation of what your final product would be.
Yeah, so I think unfortunately it's not like a daily driver. I don't think it's something you're going to use every day unless there's a reason for you to use it every day. I don't sit here and go, oh, you know what? I want to put the Apple Vision Pro on right now to work, because it just sometimes it's a process and it's just easier not to. But for the uses that you have for it, that might be good. So yeah, but just knowing that I have till tomorrow, I mean, I probably won't return it, because what's the point? Unless Apple was to send me one. If they sent me one, I would return mine and then,
sure.
But the thing is this a 2-year product? Or is it a 1-year product, right? Are they going to come out with a new one next year?
And that's what I'm curious about. Or even if it took a few years to have version 2 come out, what are the software updates going to give you in the meantime? Because they usually add a lot of new features, just, even to the iPhone, iPad, whatever it may be. So what will they add to something like the Apple Vision Pro?
They've already made a bunch of updates.
Are they automatically installed, or do you have to?
No, you can have it, but you can do updates yourself. You just have to go in and do them. Wow. TikTok releases Vision Pro app with immersive viewing experience.
Interesting. That was fast.
Yeah, but how many kids are buying this that use TikTok?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I will say, too, when we put out that video for the Apple Vision Pro review for like a photographer, a creative, a videographer, it totally flopped for our audience. But once we kind of tweaked the title for the general public, it definitely started upticking and found itself in a lot of search results. And it's doing pretty well now. But I can always tell when like people outside of our subscribers start watching the video, because the first thing they comment on is obviously your hair.
Yeah, that's what people like to do. Is they like to comment,
those comments,
which is fine. I obviously don't care much about that.
No, yeah, I agree. But the funny thing is, like, you're getting like Sideshow Bob, Krusty the Clown, because the way you were wearing the Apple Vision Pro, your hair's like compressed and it's oddly shaped, unlike it normally is, where it's nice and poofy and round.
Yeah, we did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I understand that that's going to grab people, and that was the point of putting it in the thumbnail. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely a tough video for the audience. I mean, the whole reason behind making the video for our audience was to share what is possible and what the experience is like for me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell anybody on it. I'm just trying to show people what's there. And I think a lot of people hate on it. There's a lot of haterade just because of they don't have one or they can't afford one.
It's a brand war at the end of the day for a lot of people too. Crapple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just found the info on what they updated. They added Vision 1.1 adds options to reset the Vision Pro in case you forget your passcode. The update brings support for iMessage Contact. I've noticed that my contacts, some of them have their names and some of them don't have their name. It's got.
I noticed that too. There was a ton of just random numbers. And I'm like, man, you don't save anyone's number, but now it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they updated a bunch of stuff, not a ton. The one I would like to see is the pass-through for unlocking my phone if I'm in there. But no, I mean, I don't know. I could see returning it and not missing it because I already have the experience of using it and making it. But on the flip side, if I do take a 6-hour flight, it would kind of be cool to sit there and use it. Oh, and I did daisy chain my USB-C charger to it. So I have the Apple Vision Pro's battery at 100%. I plug in the USB-C charger that I have, the brick, so that daisy chains it, and that will keep that at 100% much longer because it's going to use all that battery. But what Richie told me back in the day when I was using one of those external batteries to work on my laptop on an airplane is he's like, make sure your laptop's at 100% when you plug in the charger, because it's much easier to keep it at 100% than it is to go from 68% up to 100. It has to use a lot more power to get up there. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking is you're going to get extra hours of usage out of it. So I don't think I'm going to return it because it's fine. We make money and I can afford it. So I wouldn't have bought it in the first place if I couldn't have afforded it.
Well, I truly think you will actually use it too. I don't think it's just going to sit on the shelf and collect dust. I think you will be traveling a lot with that. Now, at the office, I don't think you'll generally be using that. But then again, I don't know. You were using it a lot this past week, so...
Well, I was mostly testing, but what I will say is as a visual aid for me, it's very helpful.
That's what I mean,
someone who doesn't see well.
It's more the visual aid. I think you really, really enjoyed that experience because you see so poorly in general in the real world anyway.
And so when I get my new glasses, I'm going to see if the prescription works out. If not, I'm going to get a prescription made from the glasses I'm wearing now and put that inside of the Vision Pro and see how it works out. But yeah. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some Manny Ortiz. He put out a video that did really well numbers-wise.
Story time.
Lots and lots of views. It was really mostly just talking about how he was in Italy and he was on a train and his camera bag ended up getting stolen with $16,000 worth of stuff and all the footage that he shot. Now, he did have insurance, so it was all replaced, but of course you can't replace the footage. The way that it happened, do you know how it happened, Steven?
I just remember when it happened. I remember him telling you, like texting you about it, and it was quite a while ago, right?
Yeah, it was sometime over, I believe, over the summer, and he just put out the video now. But I'm pretty sure the way that it happened is he was on a train going from one place to the next, which is what you do on a train.
That's crazy.
And he put his bag up, but he put it in like the front of the car. And they do this in New York when we're taking Amtrak. There's certain cars that have places to slide
like
your
big bags.
Your bags,
yeah.
Right. And I refused to use them.
Yeah.
So he used it, and I think someone was there to distract him, and then someone else grabbed his bag and left with it, and he didn't notice it or realize it. And I think the biggest moral of the story here is you keep your bag with you, regardless of where they need to put it. If I need to put it between my legs on a train, it's going to be between my legs on a train. If I need to turn it sideways and do something with it, it's going to be sideways there.
If I have a backpack, I always will put my feet through the straps and put it on the floor. So, you know, if someone's trying to grab it, they're grabbing my foot too. That's
one thing that I do if I fall asleep on a train is that, but I'm not going to leave it in the front of the car where I can't get to it in a mad rush. Someone waits till the door's about to close and they grab it and you're fucked.
Yep.
So it's not a good practice to do that. Hopefully he doesn't do that again, but keep your bags with you. The same thing with an airplane. Make sure you know where your bag is, especially on long flights. You get tired. Make sure your bag is above you or really close to you, and you have eyes on it as soon as people start standing up. They can't go very far on an airplane, but if you're not paying attention, someone might grab. I had someone touch my bag once before, and I was like, nope, wrong bag. And plus, my logo hangs off of the bag. I watch it like a hawk.
I always put a shit ton of colorful gaff tape on my bag so I can see it from a mile away. But that's one thing with planes, too. We always make sure to get early boarding if we can, so we can make sure that the bags are right above us and not have to be at the end of the plane or in another spot or even have to be checked.
Well, that's what when you get in zone 1, Steven,
Group 1,
when you're executive platinum, like me, executive platinum.
Yeah,
I like to get upgraded to first class, and I do a lot of flying. Well, what's cool is when you do flying for productions and you're not, the budget for the company, the budget is paying for it. You get all the miles still. You still get all the points, which is cool. So the more the years
Sony, Canon, and Nikon have paid for a lot of my flights. Just from miles alone. My Disney trip coming up, it's all paid for from them.
Exactly. And I wonder if any of those trips are going to start happening again, especially rolling into the release of the R1 or the R5 Mark II, right? Those are things that the rumors are stating. The update was that the R1 is going to be rolled out during the Olympics in the summer, and that it's going to be a development announcement so that they can start publicly showing and talking about it.
Well, and Canon has been the only one right now still doing press trips. I think we went on, 2 after the pandemic? We haven't been on any with the other companies. I mean, New York we went to for the A9 III with the Sony trip.
Well, that's a trip for others who had to fly there.
Sure, yeah.
That counts.
Yeah, I guess that does count. You're right.
It's just different for us when we have to just get on a train and get there, which is great. The fact that we didn't get on a train.
Or drive up with somebody.
We drove up with Mystery Man.
Mystery Man.
We drove up with Mystery Man to New York and then took the train home.
Yeah.
I remember that now. But yeah, the rumors are saying that the R5 Mark II is coming first, or whatever, whether it's first or not. They'll release that, then they'll announce the R1. I'm hoping that when they do, that they have enough of them that we rank getting one, even though we're not, shooting. I mean, baseball season will be around. I'm really looking forward to getting that camera to see what it does.
I don't think we'll be part of the early photographer testers, right? Is that what you're saying? Or
I'm going to ask, as I always do, because
I'd be surprised if they allowed that. I mean, as part of the press, I get that, having it a month or two beforehand, a final or close to production unit, but not a beta tester. I don't know. I mean, I'd be surprised. Maybe we already have one. I don't know.
Oh, shit. Don't tell them, Steven. Don't tell them. Here's the sound of the A1 shooting at 240 frames a second. Hold on. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Pure silence. Oh, my God. That's amazing.
Booty tag.
Man, that body's a lot bigger in your hands than I thought.
Hey, Steven, things in my hands seem larger.
I know. What?
So yeah, I hope to get hands-on with that. I don't know that they should do a press trip for an R1, and the truth of the matter is that most of the people on press trips wouldn't know what to do with it or how to shoot it or are capable of actually taking good photos.
How early did we have the R3? I'm going to actually look that up real quick.
We were one of the only people.
I think it was just us and DP Review, right?
They had to physically take them there. This was pandemic. It was 2020. We had to go. We went to the soccer field and we shot it, and it was mind blowing what that focus was doing in the mirrorless world at the time. But yeah, there was supposed to be a trip to Montana, if I recall. We were told that the R3 was going to be a Montana trip, which would have been awesome. But I still prefer getting the camera myself and being able to take it wherever I want to take it and do my own shoots. That would be ideal situation for that.
I'm trying to look it up real quick. I usually put the date on the actual project folder. Let me see if I can find it real quick. When we actually shot all of that footage and had it in hands. Canon R3 preview.
What I will say is while you look that up, I was using, remember when the 1DX Mark III came out, and that camera was literally a hybrid DSLR and mirrorless camera because it had tracking if you locked up the mirror, but you lost the use of using the viewfinder, which was an optical viewfinder. But we had one of those Hoodman hood loops that I attached to it and used that as my viewfinder. So I used the LCD screen on the back as my viewfinder and shot it mirrorlessly. And I was like, this is literally a mirrorless camera right now if you just rip the mirror out and put a viewfinder on it. And I think that's where they were going with that technology back in the day.
I don't think we actually had it that early. I'm looking back at the actual project file. It's August 31st is when we had it. And that looks like it was only 2 weeks before the official announcement.
but they didn't give them to anybody else. There was like 2 or 3 press that were able to do it because they physically had to bring it to us during the pandemic.
I think I'm thinking the Nikon Z9. I remember we had that at least a month beforehand.
The Z9 was a really interesting shoot. They came and they set up shoots, or they paid for the shoots.
Which was great.
In the future, when we did the Z8, I'm like, you guys aren't doing this anymore. I'm in control of the shoots. You're not paying for anything. I don't want you to pay models because they suck anyway. And so Nikon has a way of making it so that they kind of make it more difficult. They're so worried about someone seeing us and recognizing us or anything. And the other companies just don't care. Sony doesn't send us a camera and be like, hey, don't shoot this in a public place. Canon doesn't say, don't shoot this in a public place. Nikon is so scared of their own shadow. Now, I don't want to come across as I hate Nikon. We actually have a whole Nikon Z9 kit and lenses coming back because Nikon, I asked them to send it back because I want to use it more and more as lenses start coming out for third parties. And we all know that the truth of the matter is that any camera is capable of doing anything, especially the Z8 being the price that it is a tremendous offering.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Back to this Canon roadmap. So it looks like we're getting, the R5 Mark II, the R1. They're saying the R5 Mark II first, but we're also getting a 35-1.2 finally, and apparently a 28, either f1.4 or 1.8. They're saying it's going to be announced alongside the R5 Mark II sometime in April or May. And then they're saying the 70-200 2.8 LIS Z lens, so it'll be a power zoom lens version, just like the 24-105 2.8. That'll also be coming out in July, they're saying. It's a CR3 rating. They say that the CR3 rating is our highest given and has broad consensus from all of our known sources. It's very rare that a CR3 rumor doesn't come to fruition in some form or another. So basically, they're taking this as fact, which I find very surprising. They rarely give a CR3 rating.
Well, a version 2 28-70 would be interesting.
Yeah, they're rumoring that as well. Yep.
That would be interesting because that's one of my favorite lenses. And that also brings up the question with the 35-1.2, where do I use a 35-1.2 if I've got a 28-70 f2, because then I got the versatility.
It's that whole prime versus zoom, debate. Every time it comes up, it's like, it's hard to say. The versatility is great, but also that 1.2, it's a different look.
I mean, I'll definitely get one because they'll send me one, but I'll definitely get one, for that. I'm looking forward to this stuff coming out, obviously.
It's going to be a big year for Canon if all of this comes out in 1 year, yeah.
For sure.
We've been waiting for the R1 for, 3 years now?
A long time.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting is the price drop. So on Photo News Fix last week, I talked about new pricing for discounted pricing for like the R3 and the R5. And I was like, well, maybe you should just get the refurb units that exist. But a week later, they came out with even more price drops, $500 on the R3 price drop. They dropped it to $44.99.
Wow.
$4,500 for the R3. That is insane. How much is the Z8 again? The Z8 is $37.96.
$3,800 on sale. It's usually $4,000. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's that's 45 megapixels. That's a powerful, strong option for anybody that wants to find a great mirrorless camera, because it's the greatest Nikon mirrorless camera ever made. It shares that title with the Z9 because they're basically the same damn camera.
What I find interesting is that the Sony A1 has yet to drop its price since launch. It's still $6,500. You're looking at a $2,000 difference between the A1 and R3 right now. That's massive.
Huh. What's also interesting is, they dropped the price of the R8, which is, I still think, one of the most amazing cameras ever. It's now $1,300.
It's the same price as the RP was, yeah.
Yeah, which is insane. Now, speaking of pricing, A1 is $6,500. The A9 III is $6,000. Now, if you're looking to pick up one of those, I think everybody has them in stock, which might be a bad sign. Now, I know that Brandon at Allen's Camera has a bunch in stock, that he got some extras after all of the pre-sales got fulfilled. Normally, this isn't the case. Normally, companies aren't able to, at this point, fulfill all the pre-orders and have extra cameras for everybody available.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for an R3, you can go ahead and go to allenscamera.com, tell them the Fro sent you, or go to give them a call, 215-547-2841. Yeah, I memorized the number because I used to work there and say it. Do you know how I used to answer the phone there, Steven?
Jared Polin, Froda, Allen's Camera.
It was
.com.
It was, I think it was, thank you for calling Alan's Camera. How may I take your order? Would you like fries with
Welcome
that?
to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Oh, I used to do like, thank you for calling Alan's Camera. Jared speaking. How may I help you? I was like, how could I help you? And it was like, it's Mark Howard. I'm like, Mark Howard from Channel 6 Action News. How are you? Anybody who's not from the area wouldn't know Mark Howard, but he was the local news legend for forever.
It's a tri-state
for like
thing.
30, 40 years. He was the Channel 6 Action News guy. Ba-dum-ba-ba, ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Wait, that's the A-Team. That's not Action News. Damn. Wait, let me pull up the Action News theme song. That's very similar to
So close.
So I don't know how well the A9 III is selling. If everybody has it in stock, that might not be the best. May not be the best look.
I mean, just like
around.
we were saying about the Apple Vision Pro last week, that, you know, you could find it in an Apple store, which is not a great thing. Normally you can't find it after the pre-orders get fulfilled.
Yeah. I think if I was to just guess the reasoning that an A9 III wouldn't be selling well, and I don't know if it is selling well or not selling well, and I don't know who's number one, because Canon and Nikon, Canon and Sony can fight all they want over semantics. We talked about this on Photo News Fix. I did real quickly. Canon said they were number one in mirrorless cameras or full frame or something in mirrorless cameras.
In
Sony
general.
said they were number one in full frame and top sales and units in a certain one. Canon said otherwise, this. And Canon put out a press release. Sony was like, we don't need to put out a press release about this.
It all comes down to how you interpret the data and how you want to skew it your way.
And 100%, I guarantee you that the lawyers would not allow either of them to say something that is wrong that could come back to bite them in the ass. They are all factually correct about everything that they're saying. Based off of whatever data they have, they both have the same or similar data, but they both said something slightly different, and they're both probably right. And I don't really fucking care who's right and who's wrong and who says they're number one, and the world doesn't care. People are going to buy what they're going to buy. So anyway, back to the A9 III. The biggest issue, it's $6,000.
Price?
The
Yeah.
other biggest issue, the A1 is $6,500. The biggest issue, beyond all that, is anybody that owns an A1 is not trading for an A9 III just because it shoots at 120 frames per second and has a global shutter. That's never been an issue for them.
And by the way, they're still selling the A9 II for full price at $4,500.
You should punch yourself in the face if you're even thinking about that. You're better off, you could buy an R3, or you could just go buy a Z9 and have, a Z8 and have extra money set aside. Because the Z8 is still really good.
But my point is that it should have still stuck around that price, $4,500, maybe $5,000. There's too little of a difference between the A9 III and A1. There needs to be some sort of gap. And
25 megapixels.
Yeah.
The gap is 25 megapixels, but it's not big enough in terms
price
of
gap, yeah.
anything else. So yeah, I don't know how well that is selling, but the price drops of Canon is they went across the board and dropped the price on everything. Like the Canon R5. The R5 is now $3,000. Yeah. Which is, who wants to buy Steven's 5D Mark IV?
Anyone want to buy 5D Mark IV?
For $3,000? Nope.
$4,000. What?
Nope.
No.
R7? The R7 is $1,400. The R100? Is that on sale? That shouldn't be. Wait a second. Steven.
What?
You know how much an R100 with a shitty kit, 18 to 45 is?
$500.
$500. Body only, $379.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we've always said. There needs to be that D3500 type camera that's $500, because everyone that starts with photography says, I want a nice camera, but my budget is $500. That's
Do
it.
you know how much the Nikon Z30 body only is? $606. And it doesn't have a viewfinder.
Yeah, but I'm sure that does a lot more than the R100. The R100 is insanely limiting. It doesn't even have a touchscreen, which I find mind-blowing. Like, how is that your basic camera to people that are coming from a touchscreen smartphone, and you're not making that touch capable?
Yeah, that is a confusing one. Now I did take that out to the Phillies game and took a 100 to 400 cheap one, the F8. I got some really nice results with it, but because I know what I'm doing. Where there are cheaper Sony Canon lenses. That whole debate about them not having cheaper lenses is not really founded anymore because they have it.
I mean, it's what we've always said about Sony in the beginning. If you recall, they didn't have any long telephoto lenses. They never had a 400 or a 600, and then they caught up. It's just like Nikon. We were saying they had no lenses at all. They caught up. They all catch up eventually.
And they have the Tamron 150 to 500 that I have behind me. That's a brick.
That thing is a tank.
I need to go shoot that.
I picked that up yesterday, and I'm like, wow, that's got to be like 6 pounds.
It's not 6 pounds.
I know, I'm kidding.
It's like 10-foot fence.
It's got to be 47 pounds.
It's like a 10-foot fence.
6-inch fence for ants.
But it's pretty crazy that second generation RF lenses are already coming. But when you think about it, it's been 5 years since the announcement of the RF camera, the R and the RF lenses.
Wasn't that 28? It's been 6 years.
It hasn't been. I did the math. It was 2019.
It was 2018, wasn't it?
No, look it up. I looked up when did the R come out? When was it announced? Maybe it was 18.
October 2018.
Right, 2019.
Exactly.
Let's see, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 is 5 years. So it's a little over
5.5 years.
It's not even 5.5 years.
Let's just call it 5.5.
They announced it and put it in our hands at the same exact time in Hawaii.
It was nice and warm.
It was Hawaii. No, you got to sit in your room in the dark. Now, you would have liked to have
I sat there editing like the entire trip half the time.
Where was Jared? I was in the pool.
Exactly.
I was swimming. Steve was like,
meanwhile,
just go do
texting me
whatever.
like nonstop. Like, are you done? Are you done yet? Are you done?
No, I was swimming. I was like, I'm going to go swim in the pool.
I'm in
my
dungeon
pink
editing
shorts.
while you're playing around in the pool.
No, you were at the Four Seasons, Hawaii, Waikiki.
It was a really nice resort.
It actually wasn't that nice of a resort.
Maybe not for you, Daddy Warbucks.
Hey,
but for the average person.
That Four Seasons is not as nice as the Four Seasons that Nikon let us stay at in Orlando.
True.
For the Z6.
That was really
where
nice.
we got to order whatever we wanted from the menu and charge it to the room.
Man, talk about the height of press trips.
That was the best trip ever.
And the EOS R trip were probably two of the best trips.
I didn't like the Hawaii trip. It was too far to go.
We spent like a week there, right?
Yeah, but it was too far to go.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was like a 2-day travel day. The first day or two, we were just doing nothing.
Yeah, it was too far. It was just too far. But that's what made it awesome that Nikon did it in Orlando. And the fact that they had a partnership with Disney and we got into the parks early to do photos. And Steven as a real fucking Disney nerd, that he probably loved that. He was probably juicing in his pants on how amazing it was.
It's not me. It's my wife. She's the one obsessed with Disney.
Oh, but so why do you have a Mickey Mouse ear butt plug?
You're not supposed to tell anyone about that, Jared.
That's funny. Does that exist? I'm Googling that. Incognito window. Mickey Mouse butt plug. Oh, shit. There's Minnie Mouse ears, butt plug. This all exists. Hey, who had butt plug on their bingo card for today's RAWtalk? Anybody have that coming up today? Stu, our bowling friend Stu, did you have butt plug on the list today? Yeah, so I don't think you guys had that on your bingo card. But anyway, Steven's going to be going to Disney for a vacation shortly.
Yeah, we got to figure out RAWtalk for that, too. Next week I'll be here, and then the week after is when I'll be gone.
I'll do it myself, or I'll get Vanessa Joy on. I can't have Manny on. Manny is not a good guest.
Why?
He doesn't talk. He's like, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Maybe I'll find a different guest to have on, and I'll end up doing it because you're not going to edit it, right?
No, I will not be editing it.
All right, then it's going to just be me. I'm going to do it my way.
If you have a guest, it's going to be a little different than just your way.
I'm doing it however I want to do it, and people are going to enjoy it.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I'm doing it because you're going to be gone.
I'm fine with that.
So one of the last things I want to talk about today are photo contests.
Your favorite.
I'm anti-photo contests, especially if you have to pay for them. With that being said, I paid for a photo contest. The only reason, so it was a baseball one. It was for the professional baseball photographers, amateur baseball photographers. The only reason I did it is my friends who are teams photographers for different teams know the guy who was putting this on and were saying that they need more entries and, whatever. So I just don't like the fact to pay. And his answer was, well, it's expensive to do this. I'm like, but it's not. If you have a sponsor, if you have someone else pay, now they gave away an A9 III to the grand prize winner. And if you were a member of the Professional Baseball Photographer Association or whatever, your dues already got you free entry. Like, that's fine. I don't like contests for so many reasons. They had Brad Mills, he's a great photographer, New York Times. I've sat next to him. He's in the World Series video that I sat next to him and did shooting with him. He was one of the judges. But when you have multiple judges, they have to agree at some point on certain images that they may not like, and it's just how it works.
Sure.
I looked at these photos when I saw them, and when I saw them post some of the winners, like honorable mention for portrait, and it's a shitty photo, just flat out a terrible it's not a portrait, it's someone walking off the field from their neck up with zero context. And I'm not bitching about it because I didn't place or I didn't win. I thought my photo, so I knew I would have a problem compared to the team photographers who have access. To go into areas that I couldn't go.
Yep.
But then some of the winning photos that I saw are tremendous. Like this one with the Buddha in the background, the temple, and you see a catcher's mitt on the left-hand side, and you see like someone that looks like a monk swinging a baseball bat, and you see the ball at a distance in the clouds and the rain. That is a great photo.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other images are just basic bitch photos, no different than some of the basic bitch photos of the stadiums that I took, right? Or just the action photos I find to be garbage because it's a guy catching a ball, or it's a guy stealing second base, or just an action photo. I find those to be worthless and meaningless when it comes to just the quality, like action. Here's this. What is this one? Tony Kemp, 5 of Oakland Athletics, jumps over George Alfredo, 38 of the Boston Red Sox to try and score on a wild pitch. Winner of action category. That's so basic that it's just, and I'm not saying it because I didn't win in a category. I'm saying it's basic because it's just a tight fucking photo, right? It's just one of those things. It's just a tight photo. And of course, I'm drawn to the photojournalistic aspect of it. Let's see. Honorable mention category for action is just a guy running, and he so happens to be in the sun is hitting him. Go look at it. Petapixel posted this. The title of the article is Pro Baseball Photo Competition Announces Inaugural Winners. So you can see all of them, and I think you're going to agree that the pictorial photo, Baseball in Bhutan, winner of the pictorial category by Matthew DeSantis, that's a good photo. And that took baseball out of the stadium and took it somewhere else in the world. That is a quality baseball type photo. This photo for honorable mention pictorial category from top down, I think that's a fantastic photo as well. It just got honorable mention.
I think the portrait winner is kind of interesting. I'm looking at that now. It's a player that's silhouetted, and right where his eye would be is the sun being in a sun star, like stop down. I think that's kind of cool. Different.
I think that's more photojournalistic than portrait. I don't find that to be a great portrait.
I wouldn't consider it necessarily a portrait, but what I'm saying is it's just a general, like, overall good photo.
I think it's okay, right? I don't think that is the best portrait that would have been. Even I think my fucking Bryce Harper portrait is better than that.
I'm just saying it jumps out to me for sure. I think it's a quality photo.
I don't think it's, and you could tell where it is. It's in Texas because of the stadium. Mm-hmm. So you can tell that stuff. I just don't think it's that great.
I don't think you really need context for portraits either.
No, but look at the honorable mention in portrait category of the guy looking up with the background out of focus.
That's a little bit of kind of a random shot.
It's just a piece of shit portrait.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent photo, but I wouldn't consider it like a portrait. It's just a profile photo of somebody walking off the field.
Someone walking off the field.
Yeah.
Like next year, like I'm going to go and I'm going to take hopefully that old camera, the 1940s camera, to do it. And I find a lot of this stuff is under processed because they're mostly JPEGs.
Let's overprocess it with Skittles.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking at one of the photos. It's a picture of a catcher, like a portrait, a headshot, and then behind them, it looks like almost like they're panning. The background's panned, but he's sharp. How did they even do? He's not moving. He's static. Is it an LED board that was like changing the advertisement or something at a slow shutter?
So Bryce, I believe, won the portfolio, right? Best portfolio. I think the only way that could be anything is two things. One, it's an LED board.
Yeah, it's
and
clearly
I don't
an
think
LED
you could
board,
do manipulation. I don't think you could manipulate a photo. I don't know how that was done, but it might just be an LED board that was deep behind him and causing those lines, because I've had LED issues too in the background.
But that almost looks like it's moving, not so much flickering. It looks like it's more moving left to right or right to left. It looks like a panning shot.
I could send them a message and ask how he did it.
It's really interesting because, you would think you would need a pretty crazy slow shutter speed to get that, but then he's nice and sharp and static.
Yeah.
It makes you think, is what I'm saying.
I think the best photo comes under pictorial. Obviously, I'm drawn towards photojournalistic images, but the winning pictorial is great. The other honorable mention pictorial, which is a seagull flying by with a picture in the background, is garbage. That's just a bird flying by. That's not an amazing fucking photo because there's a fucking seagull in it. Feature photo: New York Yankees shortstop Anthony Volpe, ducks away from a bee, winner of feature category. The fuck you? Like, seriously? Well, fuck you. That's have to do with baseball. Yeah, there's a fucking bee in the image. It's just not that's not good.
I actually didn't even see the bee until you mentioned it. I was more focused on his the bubble gum.
I just don't find that to be a good worthy image. It's a tight photo. I find that tight photos just lose it. It's so, yeah, he's popping a bubble and you can see a bee flying. Like, I don't find that to be tremendously an amazing photo. The Savannah Bananas one, the honorable mention, where it's the Savannah Bananas in the foreground and the fireworks going off the background. It's a good photo. Right? Honorable mention, fine. I think that's better than the bee, but it's also just very snapshotty. Emotion. I think some of these emotions are pretty bad. Mookie Betts of the Los Angeles Dodgers looks on. Honorable mention in the emotion category. Yeah, they lost in the playoffs, and he's sitting on the bench. It's a snapshot of him sitting on the bench. Then you've got one taken by Bill Stryker, who I shoot with all the time at the Phillies, which is a celebration with Bryce Harper, shirt off, all the beer flying, flash, slow shutter speed, creates nice movement. This is a great shot for celebration in the clubhouse.
That photo actually does stand out to me.
Right. That stands out more than the emotion of Mookie Betts or the guy getting hit with a bunch of teammates throw bubble gum at him. And that's the winner of emotions. I don't find that to be a winner of an emotion category, because what I think you need to take into consideration when critiquing these images and selecting them is the context of the moment. Sometimes a bigger moment will be the classic image that gets drawn out.
I mean, maybe the issue overall was just they, like you were saying in the beginning, they just did not have enough submissions, and these were the best of those submissions.
Yeah, but Steven, none of mine won anything.
See, well, what would you consider yours in terms of category?
A lot of the ones that I entered were pictorial.
Yeah.
Right? Pictorial, the portrait I did, like Bryce Harper on the bench. I did that. I don't even remember all of them that I did. The low angle that I did with the Fuji GFX 100 of Bryce Harper hitting that home run with the purple sky. I found that to be a beautiful angle. But is it unique? No, it's not, because it's just shit that you get at baseball stadiums when you get blue hour or the sun going down. But I do think I had some good images. I do also think I looked at the Cubs photographer, Matt Dirksen. I went to Africa with him, and I looked through his images to give him suggestions on what I thought were really strong images. He has all access. He can go out on the field right before the game is starting, be at the pitcher's mound, and he did a great 51 too, because he shoots for Sony. They don't have an 85, and he did some incredible, just gorgeous looking portrait on the mound right before the game. It was just awesome. I found that to be a much better portrait than what got selected.
And did he submit that specific photo that you're talking about?
He submitted that. He submitted a bunch of them. I talked to a bunch of the other photographers in baseball, and they kind of all agreed that a lot of the selections were questionable in certain categories. And that's the tough part about contests and why I don't think you should ever spend money to enter contests. I think they should be free to enter. I think they should be supported by sponsors and advertisers pay so that people can enter for free and they get stuff if they win. That way, it's not like I could run a contest and I could charge money for it and I could probably make a lot of money doing it. I don't feel it's ethical to charge people for the chance to win
a raffle.
It's basically a raffle ticket to win a camera.
Yeah.
I mean, we theoretically, technically could charge for people to enter. We could be like, all right, it's free to enter one photo, but if you want to enter 5 photos, it's $25. If you want to enter 10 photos for a bigger chance to win, it's $50, right? It's just like, that's a raffle. And I much rather say, hey, Canon, will you sponsor this contest? What I need from you to sponsor the contest is an R3 and a lens or whatever. And then you do a contest. And us, we make money off of sponsorship somehow, not off of charging people. Though it does sound really enticing to charge people $25 to enter a contest. And you would probably, like, let's do the math. 1,000 entries.
Yeah.
1,000 entries. Let's see. 1,000 people enter it at $25. Well, that's easy math. 25,000. That's $25,000. Could you imagine running every quarter? If you did 4 of these a year, $100,000.
Yeah.
That's if you just get 1,000. The moral of the story, I don't think you should be paying to enter contests ever, especially if you win your own contest. Like, that's like me entering my own contest and winning it, right? That's happened before in the photo community.
The winner of the Mega Pro, whatever we call it, giveaway is me.
I take the money out of the bank. No, Stephen. I take the money out of the bank and I go and deposit it right back in the bank. And then we call it a day.
And this check goes out to Jared Polin.
Exactly. So that's it, Stephen. This is RAWtalk 89, bro. Anything else to add?
No, I'm glad this is a very visual-based podcast, and that last 20 minutes of contest talk and talking about photos made sense.
Well, we try to describe it, and you can go look.
Yeah.
You can Google baseball photo contest. Petapixel has a bunch of them posted.
Don't do it while you're driving.
No, don't do it while you're driving. Steve.
Yeah.
Steve.
Who's Steve?
You know who you are, Steve. I don't know if Steve listens to this. Steve. You know, from Manny the Menorah Steve.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, not you. All right, I gotta go order the Jared. I haven't been able to watch my shows during lunch lately because Deb was here the other day before I dropped her off to go to Seattle, so I had to eat lunch while talking to her. Not that that's a problem, Steven. Not that that's a problem.
I don't know. You do like to eat in silence and watch your shows.
I do like to watch my shows, but I did enjoy getting to have conversations with her while she was sitting here before she went to Seattle.
Was she just talking to you and you're just like, just like ignoring her the whole time? You'll call me when I'm eating lunch and you'll just continue to talk after I initially say, hey, I'm eating lunch. You pull what your dad does to you.
No, my dad doesn't do that.
Your dad will call during the show and you'll say, hey, we're doing the show. Okay, let me continue to talk. And I'll be eating like lunch and you continue to have a whole conversation. Like, can I call you back in 20 minutes?
Exactly. Well, yesterday I had a meeting and we ended up doing lunch. So I went and got the Jared and got my other friend something. And I'm like, but I really want to watch my TV show. Because it's just a 15-minute reprise while I eat my lunch.
How it is for me too. It's the one time of the day for me personally that I get, a 30-minute break where I can actually like watch something that I want to watch instead of Miss Rachel half the time after work.
Oh my God, you're into the Miss Rachel now?
Dude, she loves it. Hannah is just glued to the TV. The second Miss Rachel comes on, her eyes light up. She smiles real big. It's amazing. And you put something else on and totally different emotion. But Miss Rachel, wow. It's mind-blowing what she does when she turns on.
She should be selling that stuff.
But she has a live feed that's just constantly running the same thing over and over, like just a cable channel. And we put that on all the time. Feed. And she, like, even the songs. Hannah now, Jesus. I feel like, knows the songs. If we start singing them, she gets, wide eyes.
If you don't know Miss Rachel because you don't have kids, I know it because Richie would watch Miss Rachel for his kid. But yeah, Wheels on the Bus, nursery rhymes and kid songs, toddler learning video, Miss Rachel. It's live and they just let this thing roll.
Yep.
There's 34,000 people watching it right now. They started streaming on December 15th, 2023.
And it's just literally replaying nonstop, the same songs, the same jingles, everything.
Miss Rachel visits the doctor for a checkup. Sounds like a porn to me. Dr. Checkup song. Toddler learning healthy habits. 10 million views 2 weeks ago. She's up to 8 point some million. Oh, she had a video with Blippi.
Yeah. And Blippi is like non-existent now compared to her. You look at his channel and it's not even close. It's crazy how much the channels have flipped when it comes to toddler YouTube channels.
This is just, and she has other channels too. This is incredible. All right, I want to get out of here. I want to go eat to Jared, and no one wants to hear us talk about Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel goes to the doctor. Miss Rachel goes to the doctor. The porn. All right, the wheels on the bus go round and round. This is episode number 89 of RAWtalk. Thank you guys very much for listening. Jared, PolinFrontosphoto.com. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.